Okay, if you are a subscriber to my channel, comment below this video, give it a thumbs up. There's my glove half on. And we get this ball rolling again. I finally caught up with all the shipping, sending stuff around the world. I was going to do this with Patreon, but nah, I switch. I'll do something else for them. They got other stuff and they'll have other stuff next month. Comment below this video. You don't have to subscribe to my channel if you don't want to, but that's who I'm going to pick. People that are subscribers, and they comment below. Give it a thumbs up if you actually like it, and also got to be a subscriber to the Unbox channel. Now let's move right into it. This is a set called the TIMSOK TS 316, and it retails for about $500. It's got an impedance of 32 ohms, I believe, and a sensitivity of 102. It's reasonably easy to drive. You don't need a lot of, because it's not a bassy set, you don't have to push it up to get that slam, or you don't have to, it's a low listening or low level listening set, which means that you don't really need to turn the volume up and you can get a lot of the details. So don't worry about needing some huge amp or something. It probably will run off an Apple dongle just fine. Let's go ahead and talk about music. Let's take a look at music for a second. What I listen to, if you're not familiar, you should be. There's Tupac, Tribe Called Quest, AC/DC, Alice in Chains, Bob Marley, Boston, Cheap Trick, Creedence, got the Eagles right next to Eazy-E, right next to ELO, Eazy-E next to ELO. I like that visual. Let's go ahead and leave it there. Music is very important. It is the context. Saying that cymbals sound tizzy without the track doesn't mean anything. Saying the guitars sound too intense or unnatural without the track doesn't make any sense. Talking about bass bleeding into the vocals without talking about the track and the vocals that are being bled into doesn't have any meaning to you. It doesn't have any meaning to me when I see it either. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. I might put it up when I edit the video, as I've done many times. These are the tracks that I listen to. These are the instruments or the event that I'm listening for, and this is when it occurs with some notations. It doesn't matter if you need, this is important because it doesn't matter if you like my library. You don't have to like Eazy-E. You don't have to like Electric Light Orchestra or Elton John. It doesn't really matter if I'm talking about a piano and you know how that sounds, pretty much. Or you can take the set I'm talking about plus your favorite and compare it. Familiarity with the instrument is key. I'm just telling you where to find it in the track that I'm listening to in it so that you can pin it down exactly, because there's no, the variables should be removed. This should remove a lot of them. So let's go ahead and talk about first the bass. I'm sorry, time. I can't do time with one hand. Time. Let's talk about the frequency response graph real quick. It's a very well-tuned set according to the measurement. It has energy in the bass that is above my target. I'll go all the way to 500 hertz by a couple dB. This reviewer thinks that it sounds different than it graphs. It doesn't sound like a very bassy set at all. In fact, anybody that said that looks kind of bassy, is it? My answer would be no, it's not a bassy set. So it sounds a little bit less energetic or bassy than the graph would indicate. Also, 5K is notable because this should give more energy and bite on electric guitars and also vocals and also cymbal strikes. Not really. So this whole thing should be subdued just a little bit. Not really sure, but it's, the accuracy of graphs are, take it with a grain of salt. It's objective data, but it's subject to a lot of variables, so just be aware of that. Let's go ahead and talk about, let's talk about treble first. Talk about treble. Talk about Aerosmith, No More, No More. We got cymbal and vocal. The cymbal strikes start at 7 and 13, and they're kind of going in time because he's basically playing timekeeper in it. The cymbals sound very nice. The 5K that might sound like it's got a little sizzle or a little bit energy actually doesn't play out. I think it sounds very nice and authentic. Big Boy Kill Jill Vocaloid, which is a computer generated vocal that comes at the beginning, sounds excellent actually. Sounds really, really good and kind of makes the driver quality stand out. It's a very nice replay without the abrasive, cheap. Sometimes there's like memes like cheap equal this, but there's a lot of drivers that they are cheap and they do sound kind of rough, and that's not the case. Remember, this is a computer generated voice. I think it sounds fine. Hey, what can I do? I'll skip Little Feet. The cymbals 713, again, just like that, 713 keeping time, 1628, and on and on and on and on. It's something that repeats itself in this track. And it sounds very nice. It's the crash cymbal and it sounds perfect. It's one of the ones that I reference when I do my evaluation, obviously, and I think it sounds good. It doesn't sound fatiguing, doesn't sound like it's dying early, doesn't sound like it's got an unnatural kind of boost in the harmonics. It makes it sound like it's living a microsecond too long, but it kind of steps out on ear. Not really getting that at all. One more note, Elton John, Funeral for a Friend, the keyboard and synthesizer starts at 57. Insane keyboard synth to piano to bass guitar to vocal throughout the track, really starting at 57 seconds. Again, it's Funeral for a Friend by Elton John. Sounds excellent. This set does treble really good. Upper mids and treble, let's call it. As we get into the mid frequencies, we really talk about vocals mostly here, and a lot of the fundamentals of other stuff that don't. It's the harmonics of a lot of stuff in the mids that can be killer, because mids aren't really played with that much. Grateful Dead Ripple, an acoustic guitar, and Jerry Garcia. Sounds brilliant. The best track that I listened to as I evaluated this set was a track called Paradise by the Dashboard Light by Meatloaf. And her name is Ellen Foley, and him and their talk singing, which is they're kind of speaking to each other, and then they both have operatic range. They're very excellent vocalists, and they're showcasing that immensely. That's not the best word, but I'm just going to keep pushing through. It is a brilliant track. One of my favorite all times, especially for a set that plays vocals well. I think this does very good. Hey 19 by Steely Dan. 2 minute and 8 second to 2:40. The interlude with drum, guitar, and vocal. It's a brilliant track. Sounds excellent. This set does acoustic guitar, electric guitar, male, female vocals very, very, very well. It does a library like mine very well. Now we get into bass, and I'm going to do bass last because it's the part that's the weakest point, which is fascinating because that graph would never indicate what I'm about to tell you. And it's not a killer, but it's notable. There's a track called Please Do Not Go by the Violent Femmes. Dun, 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 dun. The bass is very clean and clear. It's not overproduced. I would say focus on 2 minute 19 to 2 minute and 39 for that about 20-second, that little bass solo. The bass strings lap a little bit of snack. Little bit of snack. Did I say snack? A little bit of... I'm hungry. Holy crap, that come out. Snap. It lacks a little bit of snap in the 4-string bass guitar. That should be there to my ear. Another notable, something like Marvin Gaye with the 808 Roland at the beginning of Sexual Healing. That sounds fine. But another one would be Big Boy Kill Jill, starting at 32 seconds, going to 45. It's a triple drop. The lowest of the 3 drops sound like it's losing a little bit of its energy. And I swear that has got to be the same part that is impacting the 4 or 5-string bass guitar, which that is very, very... that is literally where the strings are, so it's not really the same thing that's occurring, but the way that the bass is tuned is stepping out twice. It's not just one weird thing with the Big Boy Kill Jill, and the triple drop, third lowest drop is lacking a little bit of energy. It's the snap on the strings on a track that I'm expecting it to be on. So I would say that the treble is excellent. I'd say the mids are excellent. I'd say the bass is kind of suited for the classic rock part of my library. For stuff like Vivaldi, Verdi, Tchaikovsky does excellent. For hip hop it does okay, though it wouldn't be, and even the graph would indicate it's not really bass set. So who is this for? This is for people that like classic rock, classical music, jazz, music like that. I think it does fine. I can't speak to K-pop or J-pop because I don't listen to that. EDM, I don't know. I don't really listen to that either. I think it's also good for people that are sensitive to buildup of pressure. I know a lot of people that spend big money on sets, and sometimes the killer has nothing to do with sound. It's all about the pressure buildup in the ear that is very, very sensitive and very uncomfortable for them. I don't think this does that, and I think it's directly connected to the reason that the bass doesn't have the snap. And I think it's related to this vent that's on the outside. That's not for looks. I believe that's doing something, though I've never covered and measured. There's something going on with the inability for me to get like what feels like a seal. Like everything's blocked out and I got almost a suction being pulling on my eardrum. That never happens with this set. That's a good thing for you if sensitivity to pressure is an issue. Who's this not for? People on tight budgets that are convinced that a dynamic driver doesn't need to be thrown money at. Because of what's happened in the past couple of years. There's a lot of good sets. If you're one of them, I can't tell you that paying 5 times more is going to get you 5 times performance. Nobody can, and if anybody does, I suggest you doubt. That's all I'll say about that. The other would be OCD. As you can see, I've got a glove in my hand for any moment that I might touch this. It is metal, and it's got your fingerprints are going to get on it. There's no way to get around that. And the cable, when it brushes up against your chest, might transfer a little bit of that noise to your ear, which is so the cable has kind of harmonics to it when you touch it, and sometimes that's related to a fabric coating on the outside, and I'm just assuming that that's the case. I can't say for sure, though I did switch cable and I didn't have that issue. So if you're sensitive to that kind of thing, harmonics on the cable or fingerprints, then you would probably definitely consider, because that might drive you nuts. As a set of earphones, very, very good. If you like the Twilight, this is something that you should consider, in my opinion. That is my video. You guys have an awesome week, and I'll probably see you in like 2 days. And I am. Graphs are fascinating, aren't they? This is not a bassy set. Very interesting. And I'm out. And thank you to Music Tech again. I much appreciate it. And now I'm out.